Okay, hey everyone. So this is going to be a random video with some short updates. I'm going to talk about lubricants. I'm going to reconstruct my 880 single from Ledgewood, and then I'm going to talk about, I might do some ZZ tutorials in the future. So I'll talk about those three things. So the first thing, D&M released right before I went on my trip. And to address one thing is some people aren't getting the results they thought they were going to get. And I just wanted to say it was a replacement for Maru lube. Like, it's a water-based lubricant that's basically, so Maru is just polysiloxanes in water. D&M is an approximate mix of, like, I had to guess the concentration. It's polysiloxanes, water, and two compounds that pull moisture from the air. And one of the original formulations had the shear thinning. Some people didn't like that. They wanted it to be fast, fast, fast at the competitions. And since a lot of people were complaining that they wanted a really fast piece lube, I was like, okay, fine. We'll just make it as fast as possible. And it doesn't do the shear thinning thing, so it doesn't have the viscosity is lower than what we showed at ODU. So basically, D&M is not a replacement for your weight 1, 2, 3 lubricants. It's just a replacement for Maru. And if you use it like that, you're going to get pretty good results. The next upcoming lube is getting fast-tracked. That's because I've been using it in all of my puzzles, and I've completely fallen in love with it. And the boss thinks that we should probably fast track it for the community. So we have a few more tests. I'm trying to get some opinions at my next competition. The name is probably going to change, but Fluonium, actually, you have to use it a particular way. I probably will not release Fluonium Black. I'll be using it internally for some few niche purposes, and just like anything else, if you want to custom order it, just send me an email, message me, and we can work something out. We have our ways. But the white version is probably, I'm going to probably see if I can mix it with some metal oxides, do a few tests with that version, and depending on how that version works, we're probably going to ship that out in about 2-3 weeks. We'll probably need to get some testers' opinions, so a little longer, but we'll see. So using it is a little unique. So to use this lube, it actually has to be broken in, much more than other lubes. That's because the lube is a suspension of microscopic particles of Teflon, and it takes time for these particles to get into the crevices, the micro friction grooves of the cube. So you have to break it in. So at first it's going to be very, very slow. It's going to be sluggish because it's really high viscosity at first, and you don't feel that really low coefficient of friction because it's so viscose. Once you break it in, you're going to start gradually the cube is going to gradually get faster and faster and faster until you hit that sweet spot when it just hits you. You're like, oh my god, this cube is so soft, fast, and smooth, but at the same time the lube is still viscose. That's the magic of the Teflon in the silicone, because the silicone has the controllability of the high viscosity, whatever viscosity you would like. We're probably going to aim at, well, I'm probably going to aim at the same viscosity as between 30K and 50K Traxxas, but it's going to have a much lower coefficient of friction because that's the nature of Teflon. So the way you apply it is very slowly at first. You're going to use a tiny, tiny drop, break that in, and then once you get to a nice stage, use another drop, break that in, and I'm talking like 50 to 100 plus solves. For me, it took about 2 to 3 days to fully break in my cube, because I used a lot at first. And once you reach that broken in stage, it's going to be really, really, really nice. I promise, I guarantee. And that's the magic of the tiny, tiny, tiny micron-sized Teflon particles. Just to repeat, you build up in layers, and you're gonna eventually get a Teflon patina if you break it in and use small amounts. So that's basically how you use Fluonium. We might change the name depending on how well the metal oxides work. The next thing is I'm going to show you a reconstruction of my 880. At my last competition, me and Brandon Lin, one of my friends, good friends, we were like right next to each other in the ranks. I think I was like 15, he was 14 or something like that. We both got 12 averages, and we both got the same exact single to like the 100th second. By same I mean we had different scrambles and we used different methods, but we got the same exact time, which is really, really crazy. I'm going to show you a reconstruction of how I got that time. Okay, so I'm going to post the scramble and the solution in the description. But it was like R2, UF2, D, B2, R2. Now I remembered it was 8 bad edges, so 3 in the back, 3 in the front, and somewhere are distributed too. So for my EOLine, I like to use lowercase l moves for the ones in the back. So I did that to orient everything in the back, D, F to orient everything in the front, and then D to do the line. So that was like 3 moves per step. I'm currently at like, well, a little less because there are like some other moves, but that was 8 moves to EOLine. And then I wanted to make this pair. Wait, let me see. Yeah. And then after I made the pair, I wanted to finish this left square. So that's the corresponding edge. So I made the square, and then I saw this F2L pair, and then I just inserted it into the block. So I have my left block, and then I noticed it was just R2 to finish the cross, and then I could just do F2L normal style, but like, this is how smooth it was. It was like just a few moves. Like, I did this pair, and somehow I lucked into, like, it was just R, U, R prime, or like R prime, U prime, R, but I saw this is like a 3-move TSLE, so from here, it's just half of an A prime to solve everything. So that was like 6 moves after getting the 2x2x3, and then this partial A perm is like 8 moves. So it was like, because like an A perm is like usually like this, and then you do this, but from here you just do the D2 and then the triggers. So instead of like, it's like you like skip a few moves. It's a cool out, and then it was a solved cube after like just 8.8 seconds, which was really, really, really crazy for me. Like, for context, my closest single before that was like 10 point something, which was deleted at Rockville, and that's like, that's the jump from 10 to 8 is like huge. I almost never get 8s, so that was a really good competition experience. To end the video, I'm thinking about, I've had a lot of requests for like ZZ tutorials, and the thing is, the way I mentally process ZZ is probably going to help nobody, because I use green on the bottom, white on the front, and my ZZ is, honestly, it's very bad. But I was thinking I could explain how I do edges, like orient EOLine, and then how I do the blocks. And even though it's probably going to help nobody, if someone out there is smart, they can try to learn some lessons of it and apply it to their colors. So I think maybe I'll do that in my spare time. So I just did right block. Maybe I can talk about my tricks, such as like From here I can either do this slot or this slot. It actually doesn't matter for my method, but I'm gonna go for this slot anyways because I like to leave the slot open. And from here I have a few tricks like predict the orientation from there. Like that would be bad, so do this, so that was bad too. And then just general tricks for this. But I don't know, maybe it'll help someone, but I'll explain that EOLine is actually a decision tree. Well, if you know what a decision tree is, it's things from computer science and whatnot. But I'll explain how I do EOLine, and then just little tricks I use in various steps. But then again, I'm not very good at ZZ. I average like 12, but maybe it'll be fun. So thanks for listening to my random updates. I promise, I guarantee, the next video is going to be much more exciting. I'm working on, for the past 4 months or something, I've been working on a project, and it's getting pretty close to completion. And I'm pretty excited to finally tell everyone. But there's also a chance that it doesn't work out, and in that case, I'm probably never gonna announce it. So we'll see. I'm really hoping this project goes through, and then everyone can benefit from it. So yep, thanks for listening. See you guys.